Have you ever heard a 5-year-old scream, "Please help my mommy," and then realized she was talking about you? Have you ever watched your child run barefoot into the street because a man with $1 billion smile decided your pain was part of his decor? That was my Sunday. The day marble and glass finally echoed something true. My name is Brandy Jackson, mother cleaner fighter when I have to be. And this is the first time I'm telling it the way it felt, not the way it looks on a police report. No polished speeches, no pretty endings, just the sting of bleach in my lungs, the throb in my ribs, the sound of little feet slapping a floor that never once loved me back. If it were you, what would you have done? I start early, earlier than the sun, earlier than the birds that sit on the gated fence like tiny guards. Uniform, pressed hair tied back, a smile I keep clean even when the floors aren't. In the staff room behind the mansion, the window is the size of a TV, and the fan rattles like it has doubts. My daughter Gabrielle sits cross-legged with a handful of broken crayons drawing the same big house again and again. The chandelier looks like fireworks in her picture, not like the thing that reflects you small. She's 5. Somehow she makes marble look soft. The phone buzzes. I don't have to look at the name to feel my stomach tighten. Tom Cross, the boss, the billionaire, the man who doesn't say good morning because good requires more than money. His voice is cold, clipped, impatient. Everything's spotless, every room I've got partners tonight. He hangs up mid-breath like mercy is a luxury he refuses to buy. That's the whole conversation. That's most conversations. So I clean. Kitchen butler's pantry, west wing guest rooms, the long hallway that feels like it could erase you if you walk it tired. My palms go raw, my back starts that whispering ache. Lemon cleaner turns into a taste I can't spit out. Gabrielle trails me with a towel twice the size of her hand, serious as a nurse. "Mama, can I wipe this too?" I say. Careful, baby, because children should color, not polish someone else's pride. But rent is a clock that never stops, and some days you choose between money and mothering, and both choices cut. You know what I mean? By late afternoon, the driveway hums, expensive cars purring like they're bored. Tom steps out, first suit sharp watch, flashing smile that doesn't warm anything. 3 men behind him smell like whiskey and victory laps. They walk into that foyer like they own the air, and maybe they do. I lift my head, swipe sweat from my eye, and say that dumb, hopeful sentence, "Almost done, sir," because I've learned men like him need you to say it even when the floor already shines. He sees the mop in my hand, the child at my side, and his mouth bends. He knocks the handle from my grip. It cracks on marble loud enough to tell the whole house who matters. And he says I'm embarrassing him. Like my work is the shame, not his voice. One friend laughs short and mean. Another stares at the crystal bowl like he can drown in it. I keep my voice low because dignity likes quiet. I'll finish the foyer now. Just give me a minute. He steps close, the kind of close you feel in your bones. "You'll finish it now," he says, "or you won't work anywhere in this town again." He doesn't whisper. He wants the room to hear it. Pattern interrupt. Because here's where you think I cried. I didn't. I took a breath that scraped, put my body between him and my daughter, and said the first no I'd said out loud in months. "Sir," not in front of my child. He doesn't like that math. The math where a woman counts herself. His hand shoves, the counter catches my ribs. The air leaves like it's mad at me for needing it. Gabrielle screams, the kind of sound that makes the ceiling tilt, and she pushes at his leg with both hands like 2 butterflies trying to move a storm. He doesn't even look. He says, "Get her out," like she's a stain, like my baby is something to be removed. Then Gabrielle runs. Barefoot dress, wrinkled breath, hiccuping, that little body moving faster than fear. If it were you, what would you have done? Scream her name until the syllables split, or pray she made it through the gate? I did both. Come back, baby. Run faster. Sometimes a mother's love is a contradiction you say out loud. Across the street, the universe lined up an answer I never would have believed if I hadn't watched it happen. Motorcycles, 6 of them parked like a pack, leather vests, tattoos that told stories. Men with the kind of eyes that say, we've seen worse and decided not to become it. My daughter runs to them because kids know when adults are still human. Please help my mommy, he's hurting her, she says, voice cracking right down the middle. The biggest one takes off his helmet slow. Big hands, careful, like he handles new life more than trouble, and kneels so his eyes are even with hers. Where is she, sweetheart? In the big glass house, she points, please hurry. He nods once, turns to his crew without making a speech. Tank Hawk. With me, the rest of you stay with the kid. Engines roar like a promise. Inside, the noise arrives before the men. The marble floor vibrates just enough to make even rich whiskey pay attention. Tom's mouth curls. He heads to the doorway like a king whose mirror just told him bad news. The doors open, and in walk presence and purpose. The leader, I learn his name later, Mason Cole, steps in like a man who knows exactly where he stands and exactly why. He reads the room fast. Mop on the floor, bucket tipped my sleeve, torn my cheek hot. Then he puts his body between mine and Tom's and asks in a voice that isn't loud, because it doesn't need to be, you the one hitting her. Tom smiles a thin smile that says security is a word, not a job. You're trespassing, he smirks. Call the police. Mason doesn't blink. You won't need to call them, he says, they're already coming. Another biker drapes his jacket over my shoulders. Leather warm, smelling like rain and road and safety. And I remember my body is allowed to stop bracing. The fists I've kept in my lungs unclench. Tom lunges, more ego than plan. And Mason catches his wrist the way you catch a glass before it shatters, quick, unshowy, decisive. Don't, he says. The room gets small. The men in suits shift like their shoes suddenly don't fit. Even the chandelier light seems to lean. Mini call to action. Stick around, because what happened next will blow your mind. Here's the twist that flipped the whole day on its head. The investor in the gray suit, the one who laughed first and looked away second, had his phone sideways, the red dot on, and he had started recording right after the mop bounced. Worse for Tom, better for truth. The house cameras see everything always, and the house manager whispers from the hall, the feeds back up off-site. The receipts exist. Not mine. His. Sirens arrive like a weather change. Blue and red wash the walls soft at first, then clarifying. 2 officers walk in. A tall black man with gray at his temples, and a woman with a ponytail, tight like she's done being lied to. And the power leaves the billionaire like a tide leaves a bad beach. We got a call about an assault, the older officer says, calm, practiced, not impressed. He looks at me, not through me, not past me. Ma'am, are you hurt? Are you safe? My throat burns. He hit me, I say simple, not heroic, just the thing that happened. He told me I'd never work again if I didn't do what he wanted. He did it in front of my daughter. The woman officer holds my gaze like a steady hand. Do you have video? She asks the man in gray without looking away from me. He nods, small, ashamed red dot still blinking. And the house cameras, she adds. The manager nods too. Truth is loud now. Tom picks the worst words. She's lying, people like her. And the officer lifts a finger like church. Watch your next words, sir. Silence drops into the foyer like a stone into a still pond. You can feel the ripples all the way out to where the neighbors pretend they aren't looking. They read him his rights. They cuff him without a show. He tries to twist the narrative as they take his wrists, tries to say trespass and slander, and do you know who I am? But the room already voted. Mason steps an inch to the left, not blocking, just existing where a good man belongs, and Tom's sentence evaporates. Outside, a bike idles soft like a heartbeat, like a lullaby that knows steel. Then I hear what I've been waiting for since the counter hit my ribs. Mama. Gabrielle bolts through the door and into my arms, and the world makes the sound a cracked bell makes when it finally rings true. You think the credits roll there, right? Cuff's car door fade to black. That's what I wanted too. But survival isn't an ending. It's an opening. The officers ask if I have a safe place to stay. I don't. I have a key to an apartment with thin walls and a lock my child knows how to jiggle with a spoon, because sometimes I forget mine. Mason clears his throat, respectful, like he grew up with elders who taught him how to share space with grace. We'll get them to a motel tonight, he says. We'll follow you to the station so she can give her statement. Nobody's touching her again on our watch. The older officer nods, two men from different roads meeting at the same line. The motel smells like bleach and new sheets, and a freedom so fresh it makes me cry. Mason returns with coffee and a brown bag. Pancakes for the kids, sandwich for you, he says, like he's offering a normal day. I say he didn't have to. He shrugs. Didn't have to do a lot of things. Sometimes you do the right one anyway. He sits by the window, not taking up the room, watching my child sleep, the sleep of a girl who outran fear. What happens now, I ask, because the future is a hallway too, and I'm tired of walking it alone. He looks at the ceiling like it answers him sometimes. Now you tell the truth, he says, and people who swallowed theirs find the courage to spit it out. Cops booked him for assault and harassment. Word is other workers got stories, NDAs, and threats. You didn't just survive, Brandy. Sometimes surviving is the first punch. Yeah, that happened. I laugh a little because the notion of me throwing anything, even metaphor, feels wild. I don't want to fight, I say I want to sleep. Exactly, he smiles. That's what a fight is for. Morning comes like mercy through a cheap curtain. Two women from a local outreach center knock with clipboards and eyes that have seen too much and still believe. We've got a small apartment above the bakery, one says 6 months rent-free, while you get on your feet. There's part-time work at the community center if you want it. People heard, they cared, they moved. I look at my daughter and the jacket still around my shoulders, and I say yes, because yes is how you climb out. Neighbors bring a couch with a rip we decide is our lucky mark. Someone drops off dishes that clink like laughter. The owner of a cleaning supply company stops by, quiet. My wife saw the story. He says we think someone like you deserves better than what you had, full-time, fair pay, no calls at midnight, because some man spilled champagne. It's not a miracle. It's a town choosing not to look away. On Sunday, the bikes roll down Maple Street. This time, I don't brace. The sound means family now. Mrs. Patel in the bakery has pancakes ready before the kickstands go down. Tank jokes about preferring sugar to gasoline. Hawk gives Gabrielle a sticker of a bird mid-dive. Mason climbs the stairs and pauses at my open door like it's a threshold he respects. We sit at the wobbly table and I tell him the part I hadn't told anyone. I used to think I was invisible. I say that was my superpower. Nobody sees the cleaner unless the floor is dirty. He nods like he knows. Invisibility is what they hand you. He says visibility is what you take back. You already took it. Your little girl rang the alarm. We just answered it. Do you think that's fair? That it took bikers and cameras and sirens to make the truth count when my word should have been enough? Would you have done what Gabrielle did, run to strangers with a brave mouth? Would you have done what Mason did, step into a house where the money lives and decide your presence was authority enough until the real badges arrived? Be honest. I won't judge. I just want to know what kind of town we're building. It's not perfect. Lawyers make noise and money is a megaphone. Some folks say the bikers shouldn't have walked in at all. Others want to know why they didn't do more. The investor in gray, the one with the video, came to the bakery a week later with a folder of emails and NDAs and staff complaints that went nowhere. He said profits aren't worth this. He said he's sorry to the version of himself who sat quiet too long. I won't make him a hero. I won't make him a villain either. Sometimes the middle of the road is exactly where a person starts walking in the right direction. There's a picture on our new wall, not of the mansion, not of the chandelier, of a doorway filled with sunlight and 3 silhouettes, and a small child running toward them like hope has feet. Every time I look at it, I remember the worst minute of my life and the best stacked like a lesson. Pain, then help, silence, then sirens, a hand raised, then a wrist caught. It doesn't erase what happened. It lets me breathe in a world where someone hears a cry and moves. So I'll end here. Not with a gavel, not with a headline everyone agrees on, but with a question big enough to argue about and small enough to live in your chest. When does a neighbor become responsible for your safety? When is stepping in, physically, loudly, boldly, the right thing to do, and when is it crossing a line? Should we wait for uniforms, or is there a moment where community has to move first? Do men with money deserve more patience than women with bruises deserve protection? I want to hear your take. If you stayed with me, thank you. Tell me where you're watching from and what time it is. I want to know the world that held these words with me. If it were you, what would you have done? Would you have called, walked in, filmed, believed the child? Do you think the bikers were right or wrong or right in a way that makes you uneasy? Drop your truth in the comments. Argue with me if you need to. And if you've lived something like this, share it so the rest of us remember to show up. Hit subscribe if you want more real stories, messy human, the kind that asks more of us. And share this with someone who thinks money makes the rules. Maybe today, it won't.